Morning again. Good morning. This is the last assignment for the unit BSBLDR413, Lead Effective Workplace Relationships. Like I said earlier, this is in kind of continuation from task 4, and that's why I wish to cover that bit earlier. So here goes your student name, student number, due date, which is for September. When are you submitting? My name, your sign, and the date when you are signing it. Right, so this task requires you to demonstrate the skills and knowledge requirement to use leadership to promote team cohesion. Okay, I told the due date, this is all fine, this is all location, wherever you want. It could be those fancy Sanabis resort, if you wish, or it could be literally our real house or workplace. There is an appendix, which is improvement plan template, which is fine. This is all good, this is all good, this is all good. Yes. Stage 1 and 2, there is only 2 stages. Stage 1, feedback meeting. We are meeting for a feedback. In this stage, you need to seek feedback from the management about how you manage relationships in the workplace. Meet with the management and ask them to evaluate the way you interact with others. So remember, in the previous task 4, you were planning for a meeting and you conducted the meeting, right? And a conflict resolution, right? How did you go? The management will evaluate that. Okay, question to consider, if you're asking for a feedback, how will you get along with others at your workplace? Do you get into workplace conflict? If you have been in a conflict at work, even a verbal exchange, how was it resolved? If I get exchanged some verbal conflict, I don't like you, you're not doing the right thing, that's not how we should do. Maybe any aggravated form of it, right? How did it get resolved? Did I say, come to you and say, oh, sorry for my behavior the other day, right? It's not what I meant, right? Or I was under stress, or I was having some family issue, and that's why pardon my behavior on that particular day, right? How did you resolve it? Do you find that you enjoy talking to others and making friends at work, or do you feel often anxiety when faced with spending time with colleagues or speaking with customer supplier? What is it that you feel? You feel happy that, hey, I'm talking to someone, they are nice people, I like to know what they do. Or you feel, nah, they will ask me so many questions, I don't want to face those customers or suppliers, right? How do you feel in a leadership position in charge of managing people, right? So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, okay, that you should consider including. You need to provide evidence of the feedback meeting. This can be in a form of video recording of the meeting. For those who do not have access to workplace, you need to find one participant who will simulate a workplace environment, play the role of your manager or senior colleague, and provide feedback to you. Provide the participants with all the information about this unit and assessment task they'll need to success in the meeting, right? So simple enough, a video meeting for the feedback. What I would suggest is, when you're writing script, the basic introduction and everything is fine. At this point, with the responses, right? So you are seeking the feedback, right? So again, I'm picking Frank, Frank's name. So Frank will write this question in a script and a possible response. And those manager who is acting as a manager, right, will provide the feedback. So question could be like, Frank will say, how well do I get along with others in a workplace, right? And the manager who is acting as a manager will respond to that question. Yeah. Or, all of the question. The Frank will say, how do I get into workplace conflict? And the manager will answer that question, right? So this is a question from Frank, right? Frank says this, right? But rather than you, I would say, how well do I get along, right? And the manager responds. This is one way of doing it, right? That's your first question, one block. Similarly, Frank says, how do I get into workplace conflict? And the manager responds. That's one way of doing it, where your manager is not just speaking the response, not the question. That's one scenario, one way of doing it. Or the other way could be everything to be said by the manager. The manager is saying everything, right? So manager will say, how well do you get along with others at your workplace? So that's a question, and manager responds. Frank is just listening. That's another way of doing it, right? So depending on the qualities of the manager or the age of manager, you can choose one of this thing. If you are selecting your kiddo or partner as a manager, not a real work colleague, not the people in this room, then I would say go for this, where Frank is asking the question, manager is responding, right? So manager is speaking only half of it. But if you think, okay, for example, Frank and William are doing the role play, then I'm sure both of them are capable enough to have a longer dialogue. Yeah, make sense? Okay, so that's one situation. I would undo what I did. I would undo what I did. Right. Okay. Again, doesn't specify the length of the videos, as long as you can include this question responses, couple of minutes. I would expect around 5 minutes is a decent time. Yeah, where you provide some introduction, discuss this question, and get the responses. Yeah? Right. Stage 2, analyze the feedback. Based on the feedback you receive in stage 1 of this task, you need to analyze and evaluate both the feedback and the way you work with others. Use Appendix A performance improvement plan template to assist you with analyzing, evaluating the feedback you received. You may use another template of your own, which I don't recommend, to develop your own criteria to evaluate your performance and pathway to improve leading workplace relationships. Cover the following area if you are designing your own. Summarize the feedback, identify the strength and weakness, and plan a path forward. But why would you worry about creating one when this is already given? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, right. So you should consider these points. Yeah. Right. So that's a template given. So I would strongly say don't worry about creating one. You got a lot of other stuff to take care of. Yeah. So why you would go into creating your own template when everything is there? So summary of the feedback. That's what it's saying, right? Area of concern, expected standard of performance, agreed improvement, strength, or monitoring and review schedule, right? So let me write one example here. Area of concern, interaction with colleague, right? So I can write area of concern as interactions with work age work colleagues. Yeah. Expected standard of performance, professional. I mean, don't copy what I'm saying. I'm just giving an example. Professional, courteous. Okay. Thanks to the spell checker. Courteous and humble. Right. Agreed improvement action. Professional. What was missing in the conversation? I don't know what is he still doing. He's still not online. Now he is. Strength. I was humble enough. Yeah. Honest and open to my communication, right? Monitoring review schedule. I will review this expected standard in 4 weeks time. Yeah, 4 weeks, or you can be very specific with the date, right? And then you can go for the next, and then you can fill up all that thing right here. Identify 3 areas of improvement. Again, whatever you have here, you can write them in your own words, like in a bulleted points. or full sentences. Number 2, set a goal where you would like to be as a leader in 5 years' time. This is awesome for you to plan your 5 years journey. Like I said, this cert for God knows where it will take you, but definitely higher than what you are. That's guaranteed. If you implement what you learn, simply not on a paper. Yeah? Okay? But put your dreams here. I tell you, if you put your dreams on a piece of paper, read them every day, there are greater chances of them becoming success. It has worked with me. Number 3, identify and explain 3 future work tasks that you can do to improve your leadership skills. What can you do? I can be more professional. I can improve my English. I can improve my tone of speaking or active listening. What is it? Again, 3 of them. Yeah. And that is it. That is it. Simple enough. Yeah. Let me summarize them very quickly. Stage 1, feedback meeting. So if you can recall from your AT4, task 4, we were having a meeting about conflict resolution. Once you have that meeting of conflict resolution, your next step is to seek feedback from your work colleague, from management, sorry, about how you handle the situation or how you are at a workplace. How do you behave at a workplace? A strong leadership skill or something lacking that, whatever. These are the 5 questions. Like I said, you can do it in 2 ways, depending on the competency of the acting manager. If there's a family member, some kids, who can speak decent English, of course, then choose it in a way, draft your question, how well do I get along with workplace, and manager response to that question. How do I get into workplace conflict? If I have been in a workplace conflict, even a verbal, how was it resolved? Right? Do I find that I enjoy talking to everything that is you can replace it I? Not advisable, but that's a way. So the manager, acting manager, don't have to speak a lot. Doesn't have to speak a lot. Or if you, like I said, 2-person, very competent enough, right? They will lead all the dialogue, and you will say, yes, this was this thing, this was the reason that I had to do whatever is your input. But this everything is from the manager, question and response both. Okay. Simple. Stage 1. You need to provide evidence of the feedback meeting, a video recording, someone else will play the man of the role of the manager or a senior colleague based on a feedback that you received. So you have to do this part first, at least the script writing. Okay, then you need to analyze the feedback that you received and how you work with the others, right? Use appendix A. So simply fill in the template summary of the feedback. You can write in a dot point, you can write in a paragraph that, oh, my manager was very happy with me, except da 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 da. And then you write what is the area of improvement, area of concern. I just gave an example. For example, interaction with a colleague, or the way I would have handled conflict. Expected standard performance based on a policy procedure of the organization is professional, courteous, humble, honest, transparent. You can add a lot more, right? Accommodating style and active listening and whatever. Right? Agreed action of improvement, maybe professional tone was missing, because this is one of the common thing that the leaders need to improve. Be more professional, be more accommodating, active listening. Strength was humble, honest, and open to listening everyone else. Monitoring schedule could be 2 weeks, could be 4 weeks, could be 4 months, depending on how big is a gap. If the bad gap is a lot, then you need to have enough time to improve upon the gap. But if it's just a one thing that, oh, maybe I was interrupting when they were saying, it's just simply, ongoing thing, or maybe 1 week's time, and I'll see how I go with that. Yeah. And that's it. 3 more questions. Identify 3 areas of improvement. Again, you can copy from the table. Set a goal where you would like to be in 5 years' time. And finally, explain 3 future works that you can do to improve your leadership skills. Any questions?